I mean, that looks like orc blood. Look how dark and red that is. I mean, I get a lot of port out of the nose.
Oh, it changes throughout. It's got a beginning, middle, and end on the palate before the finish comes in. And the mouthfeel is incredible. It's rich.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on.
It's got texture.
Yeah.
It's quite similar to the Batch 1 Warlock.
I mean, my analogy of jazz and whiskey, you know, having a lot of parallels. I mean, this is John Coltrane, you know, and you either love John Coltrane or you don't.
Yeah.
You know, this is not for the faint of heart.
No.
This is for people who want to go in deep.
Magisa might be fat swaller, but Warlock is, I like your analogy.
Yeah.
Coltrane. And this is a whiskey you'd be quite happy to sit and just nose and then get excited, ready for the flavour coming through. But
Right. I mean, this is rich and complicated. There's a lot going on there.
so I haven't laid any red wine casks down for a long time, since 2018. And I'm beginning to regret it. When you see the finished product, you think, maybe I should have.
You know, that's the hard thing about being a whiskey maker is that, you know, your life is always going to be full of regrets. Man, it's like, I laid this down 10 years ago and I wished I'd have doubled that.
Yeah.
It's like betting on horses. You know, fast forward 2 minutes, you're going to wish you had a bunch of different bets. Fast forward 20 years, you're going to wish you had a bunch of different bets. I mean, but, you know, that's the kismet of life.
It's at times like these I wish I'd started my whiskey journey in my 20s rather than my late 50s, but it doesn't matter.
You know, what I've been finding over and over and over again is I interview people that hit something in their life that said, the road I'm on is not the road I want to be on. I'm going to go get on that road.
Yeah.
And they take a quick detour, they get on making whiskey, and everything completely changes. And they're so glad they did, and they all wish they would have done it earlier. Like, I wished I would have started the Still Life Stories 20 years ago. But, you know, can't do that. So I'm glad it's the old saying, when's the best time to plant a tree? 30 years ago.
Yeah.
The second best time is right now.
Yeah.
So go do that thing you want to go do, because if you don't start today, you know, you're starting a day late. Well, I'm glad you started when you did, and you know, you got to where you are now. I mean, there's a lot of great whiskey sitting here just sleeping away.
Yeah. And you know, I love my previous career, and gave me the opportunity to travel all around the world, and I wouldn't change that.
And that was the background that gives you the skill and the ability to do what you're doing now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all right. It all works.
A lot of people have said to me, you have a scientific background, so that's probably helped. And I always say I hated organic chemistry. But maybe there's something in the methodology there,
well, you know what it is. You understand why these barrels are doing what they're doing, instead of it being a mystery. You understand the science behind what the barrels are doing right now.
I can pretend to. I'm still learning.
Right.
As you know, it's such a complex process.
Right.
When you look at the different components in there, the hemicellulose, which will break down to produce sugars, the lignin to give aldehydes such as vanillin and so on. And the more I read about it, and I guess having a scientific background, when I read about it now, I still want to know more, I still want to understand more. But as you get older, it's harder to learn. But I'm still enjoying it, and it makes the whole process of making whiskey, not just making whiskey, but if you're trying to understand it, adds another dimension. You'll never get bored. There's still so much more to learn and do.
Yeah, because every one of these casks is going to take that bottle, that liquid on a different journey.
Yeah. When is a whiskey ready? And that's something that I'm learning about, but you take a whiskey out, would it have been better in 5 years, in another 2 years, or whatever? You don't know, because whiskey, especially early on, it goes up and down. I guess my first few casks I sampled a lot, because quality control, and if you only have a few casks, you're sampling a lot from that cask, and you can see these variations. Now I have a lot more casks. It's harder to get through them all, but I'm still seeing that, yeah, it's up and down. And sometimes you think, it's perfect now. And then you leave it for a few more weeks and you go, maybe not quite. Now, is that you? Is that your palate? Or is that really happening? But
is that what I had for breakfast?
Yeah.
I wrote a piece about a pair of shoes I bought that were these expensive. They were an expensive leather, brand of black leather dress shoes, and the top of one of them was a completely different pattern in the leather than the other one, so they didn't match. And I thought that was so wonderful that somehow this came through the system not matching, and I wore them proudly. And eventually, I think my wife threw them out because they obviously didn't match. But I love the fact that they didn't match. To me, that was the magic part. That was the part and that's what whiskey is. That's the thing that's the kismet of life to me, is those unintended things that just happen. And the magic in life is spotting when kismet happens in front of you and appreciating that. And that's what you're doing here. And that last cask right there, that was fabulous.
And I think it's quite unique. I haven't tasted a red wine cask quite like that. And sometimes I've had whiskies finished in a red wine cask, and for me it tastes like a whiskey that's had a little bit of red wine added. And for me it doesn't work. But the red wine here is so integrated in the whiskey, and even if it doesn't taste like a traditional whiskey, it tastes like a very nice alcoholic drink. Lots of flavour.
Right.
I picked up a bottle of whiskey at an auction a few years ago. It was an auction in Germany, and it was called Fergus McLagan. And it was a mixture of whiskey and Australian red wine at, I think, 37% alcohol. I haven't opened it. It's probably terrible. But I'd like to compare with the Warlock here.
Yeah. No, that's something unique. That's worth. If you're going to build a collection of whiskeys, you want a bottle of that in there. That's not your only bottle, but you want that. And it's the same if you're collecting vinyl records. You want unique things that happened on a particular night. Okay, spin the bottle a little.